Hello viewers, welcome back to Network Home YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to learn about an important topic, that is the network address translation, or in short it is known as NAT. So if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to it and don't forget to click on the bell icon to never miss an update from our channel. So let's get into the video. So the network address translation, what it is exactly. So network address translation, it is a process of translating the private IP address into a public IP address. So let's understand using a diagram. So let's say this is a local network. For this network, the gateway is 192.168.10.1. Therefore 0/0 is the gateway for this local network. And the networking devices also have the IP address 192.168.10.2, 10.3, 10.4. That is the private IP addresses. So if let's say this PC 192.168.10.2 need to access the internet. Let's say it need to access some services from a server. It cannot access the service or communicate with the server using this private IP 192.168.10.2. This private IP has to be converted into a public IP once crossing this gateway. It has to be converted into a public IP. It should be like, for example, in this diagram, it is 200.10.1.1. So this interface configured with this IP, this will be the public IP. So using this public IP, it can access the internet. So for that purpose, we need to configure the router. So this NAT process actually occurs in the router. So router is responsible for converting this private IP into a public IP. Then it is the process which allows the networking device using a private IP to access the internet by translating it into a public IP address. Then we have different types of NAT. That is, there are three types in it. So one is the static NAT, the second one dynamic NAT, and the third one is PAT. So in this video, we are going to learn about the static NAT. So in a static NAT, so in this, a single unregistered private IP address is mapped with a legally registered public IP address. That is one-to-one mapping between public and global addresses. So let's say if there is one PC having a private IP address, so it has to be assigned a public IP address. A translation has to be done to access the internet. If there are two PCs, two public IPs are required. If there are n number of PCs, n number of public IP addresses are required. So this is generally used in a web hosting. And the static NAT is not suitable for the organization as there will be more number of devices which require internet access. For example, if there are 1,000 PCs, then we require 1,000 public IP addresses, which makes it costlier. And the other reason is it is also difficult to assign the public IPs manually to each devices individually. So this is suitable for only the web hosting purpose. So let's understand this using Cisco Packet Tracer, getting into the practicals. So in this, I have created a network using a PC, a laptop, and on the other side, we have the second router, which has a server. Let's say this is a DNS server. So let's first configure the routers. So for that, I will be getting into a CLI mode. Enable config T to get into a configuration mode. So I will select the first terminal, that is FA0/1, that is this terminal, this interface. So I will be assigning the IP address for it with the subnet mask, that is class B subnet mask. No show. and exit. Then I will consider the second interface. That is FA0/0. So I'll be assigning the IP address 60.0.0.1 with the IP address of class A 255.0.0.0. No shutdown and exit. Similarly, I will configure the second router. I'll consider the first interface, that is FA0/1. I'm sorry. Okay. And I will add the IP 92.168.1.1 with the subnet mask of it. This class C subnet mask is 255.255.0. Then no shutdown and exit. Then I need to consider the second interface, that is FA0/0. Then I will add the IP address for it. That's 60.0.0.2 with the subnet mask. Then no shutdown and exit. So now you can see the interfaces all are up now with the green arrows that is indicating all the interfaces are up. Okay, I'll assign the IP address for this server manually. So go to IP address and I will assign it as 192.168.1.2. And the subnet mask 255.5, 255.0, and the default gateway I need to assign. So for this server, the default gateway is this interface FA0/1, and the IP address is 192.168.1.1. And in the DNS server, I will mention the IP address of this server. It's 92.168.1.2. Then I need to get into services. Then I will click on the DNS. I will switch it on. Then I need to create a website in this. So let's say networkhome.com. And the record type, I need to select it as a record. Then here I need to mention the address, that is this IP address of the server. Then I will click on add. So you can see the website, the record type, and the IP address has been created. I will select this and save here. Then in the HTTP mode, I have already on this service. So we have assigned the server with an IP address. Then get into the first router. So here I'm going to configure the router for the NAT process. So for this reason, firstly, I will just enter the routing protocol. I have not entered any routing protocol here. I will be using the routing the RIP protocol. So I need to mention the network associated with the interfaces of the router. For this router, there is one network, that is 192.168.1.0, and there is one more network, that is this one, 60.0.0.0. Then now I need to configure it for the NAT process. For this, I need to first mention, so which interface is the inside network and which interface will be the outside network. So in this router, the local network, that is 172.168.1.1, is a local network, and it is the inside network. And the 60.0.0.1, so this network will be the outside network, which is exposed to the internet. Using this interface, we are going to access the internet. So I need to configure it. So I will select the interface first, that is FA0/1. So I'm selecting the inside interface and click on enter. Then I need to say IP NAT. So this is the inside network. So I will mention it as IP NAT inside, then exit. Then I will select the second interface, that is FA0/0. Then I will specify it as IP NAT outside, then exit. So since it is a static NAT process, I need to assign public IPs for each devices manually. So I'll select the interface, that is FA0/1. Since the PCs are in this interface, that is FA0/1. So I need to consider that interface and I need to type IP NAT inside, since it is an inside network, inside source, and I will be assigning it a static public IP. So I will type in as IP NAT inside source static, and I need to specify the private IP of the PCs first, that is 192.168.1.2 space. I need to mention the public IP which I am going to assign. Let's say I have to assign in this range itself, that is 60 range, so 60.0.0.5, and click on enter. Then again I need to select the same interface on the same. Then I need to select the second PC, that is here I'm using a laptop, that is 192.168.1.3 space. Then I need to mention the public IP which I am going to assign for this laptop. Let's say I'm selecting 60.0.0.6 and click on enter, exit. I close this and I go to enter the second router. Then I will click on just enter the routing protocol. I'm using the RIP protocol here. When I need to mention or specify the network. So this router has two networks, that is 60.0.0.0 is one network, and the second network will be 192.168.1.0, and exit. I will assign the IP address, that is private IP addresses, to the PCs manually. So it is 172.168.1.2, and the gateway is 255.255.0.0. And I need to mention the default gateway. The default gateway is this 172.168.1.1 for this inside network. Then I need to specify the DNS server. The DNS server is this IP address 192.168.1.2. And similarly, I will enter the IP address for the laptop. So it is 172.168.1.3. Subnet mask is specified and the default gateway is 172.168.1.1. Then I will specify the DNS server IP address 192.168.1.2. Okay, we are done with the configurations. Now I will try to access the server from this PC. So I will just click on the web server of the PC. I will enter the IP address of the server and click on enter. As you can see, the website was open. You can check this similarly using the website name. The website name which we created earlier was home network, network home. .com. I'll just click on the, I have entered the name and I'll click on enter. So you can see again the website was opened here. So again, I will just access the same website using the laptop. I will just enter the IP address of the server. You can see the website was accessed. So let's see using which IP address the website was accessed. So for that, we need to click on the router. In the privilege mode, we need to enter to IP NAT translation. Now you can observe here the first PC that was inside local 172.168.1.2. And when it is inside a global, that is when it is trying to access the internet, the IP address that has been used is 60.0.0.5, which we have configured here. See 172.168.1.2. For this particular PC, the public IP will be 60.0.0.5. The same thing it has been used here. And for the second PC, that is 172.168.1.3, the inside global, that is the public IP which has been used for accessing the server, is 60.0.0.6. That was configured here for the second PC. And outside the local, that is for the server IP address, we can observe here. And outside local and outside the global. And what we are seeing 1025, 1026. So these are all known as the port numbers. So this is all about the static NAT process. That's all for the day. Thank you for watching the video.